Squeenix have cancelled a game, Activision released a new one, and seemingly not that many people have noticed, and we have a bunch of updates from Valve. Of course, AI games, are they staying, are they going, and little bit of a funny situation with the old Gamba content where Valve are, actually being a little bit more forceful with what they think. Like how you should be forceful in visiting today's sponsor. Learn by doing with brilliant.org/Bellular News. The first 200 get 20% off an annual plan, and they've got a 30-day free trial. Now, if you want to learn those high-paying STEM fields, they are the place to go. And there's no better way to underpin your fundamental thinking than maths. This is the thing that I wish I did a lot more when I was younger. You select your level of familiarity, and then you will go on a journey to learn what's really made very accessible and fun with their quiz-based format that makes everything actually feel tangible. And once you've got those fundamentals down, you can progress on to mathematical thinking, probability and statistics, which, by the way, is like super fascinating. I love getting deep into probability. The Monty Hall problem, stuff like that. It's just so cool. College math, logic foundations. And I just love how Brilliant takes what used to be very passive and boring in school, at least in my experience, and actually makes it something that you really feel you can make progress on. It's all very bite-sized and super interactive. And for me, even outside of work, I think it's good to, honestly, keep the old brain sharp. I think it's really easy to be very frazzled out in our world of, algorithm-driven shorts and all these things that are blasted at your brain all day. So honestly, just putting in some music that I find to be relaxing and focusing, and even 15-20 minutes of Brilliant, I feel like I step away with something. So if you're trying to keep your brain happy like I am, or perhaps you want to learn a new skill and get those actual foundations in what could for you become a very high-paying field, then Brilliant absolutely is the place to go, where the first 200 click my link, brilliant.org/Bellular News, will get 20% off an annual plan. And of course, you got that 30-day free trial. So what's to lose? Hit them up now. They're damn awesome. Valve have spoken to the press about AI. So, they do not outright confirm or deny that they have recently blocked a game from releasing on Steam as a result of it using AI-generated content. But what they have done is they've spoken about their general processes in a fairly Valve-ish way. They do not have a concrete policy yet, is what they did confirm. That they're basically still learning how this AI stuff impacts game development and how they can even review for that. Because that's the thing, right? Yeah, a lot of stuff, when it's bad, we can just look at it and go, oh yeah, AI, whatever. But when the stuff is used well, you maybe will not notice. And indeed, when it comes to, what you could say is a vast evolution in, say, photo bashing or something, a lot of people are using AI. They're just not using it in, final shipped product, which, obviously Valve would be okay with. What they are a little bit more worried about, though, is does a developer actually have the rights to ship things? Because this isn't like the NFT or the blockchain stuff where you could present it as, oh, look, you get to make money from your Steam game, but Valve don't. How do they get their cut? No. This is something that is being implemented before it even, hits the Valve platform. Basically saying that, ultimately, they encourage innovation. They want people to use and embrace and do whatever they want with new tools. But their review process is a reflection of current copyright law and policies, not an added layer of their own opinion. Now, of course, it's fine for a company to be opinionated. A company can take whatever stand it wants. For Valve, though, it's pretty clear. It's all right, but that AI is trained off a dataset that you don't own. Some of that dataset contains copyrighted content. How does this impact us? The people who ultimately might get served with the DMCA takedown notice that we would have to comply with. That ultimately is what it's going to be. Of course, though, they encourage innovation, is what they say. So I think in this case, realistically, you're probably looking at anything using a large language model. That's likely going to be fine. That'll be whatever. I think this is more specifically art assets, and as an example, right? There are specific artists who are really well known. One whose art you've probably seen is Simon Stalenhag, as an example. And the thing there is, there's a lot of Simon Stalenhag art. Could somebody go to Midjourney, put in a prompt for Simon Stalenhag, and then effectively use replicate his style or whatever, and go do a video game. Now, this was actually done. I've completely forgotten the name of the game. It was some sort of shooter. Maybe we can get it up in the edit. But a lot of people went in it for being quite Stalinhag inspired, but not really, not working with him or anything like that. So it's one of those things where if there's AI art and nobody really knows the difference, probably going to get through fine. But if somebody uses the AI to, say, replicate the style of an artist who's, working, obviously is interested in protecting their copyright, that artist would probably then say, okay, so you duplicated my art using a model that has been trained on my art. I feel like I don't want that. And maybe they're actually going to have a case against you. Valve don't want any of that shit in their doorstep because it's Valve. They don't want to have to deal with that, basically. Now, what they will deal with is gambling. Yes. So Counter-Strike 2 is coming closer, and if you thought that a $20 gun skin in Valorant is a lot, you should see what some gun skins go for in the old marketplace for Counter-Strike. It's quite a lot of money. But yes, as we get closer to the full release of CS2, Valve are actually stepping up their actions around the very lucrative secondary market that exists adjacent to Counter-Strike. So, back in May, we covered an update to their terms of service that basically using your Steam account to engage in commercial activity that has been explicitly prohibited. And the biggest change here was the explicit mention of selling content and gambling. That now is paying off. So 40 accounts relating to high-value skin traders have been banned as of June the 28th. These are allegedly then linked to some of the biggest skin gambling platforms out there, and those platforms are linked to laundering money through crypto trading and skin betting. So it all, as you dive deeper and deeper and deeper, it does, of course, get nicer and nicer and juicier and juicier. Of course, those skin betting sites are often very unregulated, unlicensed things. I mean, look at the items. It's gun skins in a video game. So that is, a peak place to go and get some of your pesky money laundered. But yeah, from their perspective then, this is a fairly easy fix. It's got quite a material impact on the bad actors, because ultimately, with those skins, only so many of those are generated, right? That's why they command such a high value. So if they just delete the account, or they just murder the account that has the item, that actually can quite sting them, because some of the money they have is held up in assets that ultimately Valve own, because they're gun skins in a Valve game. So yes, that's the thing. If you ban the account, everything in that inventory goes away because banned users cannot trade. Now, imagine that this is essentially and maybe they don't do this because it would be pretty easy to target, but again, that 40 high value accounts were targeted maybe suggests that there was quite a clustering of assets. So if you can imagine a Steam account that maybe has 40 or 50 grand worth of skins on it, and then that account gets deleted, well, that actually correlates to real money that's going through the skin gambling website. So that is actually a pretty damn real way to go and target them. And to go through this really fascinating tweet here from Warren, every single CSGO role supplier account mentioned in this document was just banned by Steam. Using illegal, unlicensed websites that engage in money laundering comes with risk. We tried warning about this months ago. And just going through there, through CSGO Roll's top secret supplier program, traders have illegally laundered $12.7 million in crypto over the last month alone. A CSGO Roll supplier tried blackmailing me with my address if I posted this. His name's in red, and then they go on to post the document. So that quite certainly is something, and per Dexerto's analysis of this, about $2 million has just been deleted. So if you've got items in Steam and you want to trade them with another player, you better do it on Steam for Steam bucks, because boy howdy, Gabe Newell is going to get his cut. And also they don't want to have to deal with the absolute nightmare of supporting a secondary market of gambling that could probably get their ass in trouble. Which they wouldn't like. To keep on going then, did you know that Crash Team Rumbles came out? Yes, it has. Here it is. It's got a 70 Critic average, 50% of critics are recommending. And, whenever I first saw that this game was going to happen, I thought, oh, is this like some sort of, like a Crash Bash spiritual successor? No, it's a sort of MOBA. It's a competitive fruit collector by Toys for Bob, who seemingly were let out of the Call of Duty mines for long enough to actually make the damn thing. And it is yet another live service game from Activision, because it launched as both, Warzone and Overwatch have been in the middle of big marketing campaigns to get players back on board. Indeed, Crash actually was, I believe, featuring in a whole bunch of Call of Duty skins. Now, as for the game itself, it's grand. The platforming feels solid. The 4v4 team play is interesting enough. But ultimately, it's a $30 game with a slow and paid battle pass as its main form of player progression and engagement. Now, you do get the battle pass for Season 1 if you pre-ordered the game, but not if you didn't pre-order the game. So, there's no PC port, there's a barrier to entry in terms of an upfront cost, the game doesn't have a lot of staying power, and a game like this really does need quite an active community. It needs to feel like a lot is going on, because ultimately it's like, hey, this ain't Summoner's Rift. A game like this, you are going to need to stuff that motherfucker full of content and new things for players to enjoy, because it ain't Summoner's Rift. It's not a game and a map that is just going to be infinitely replayable to people. So they got a 16k viewer day one boost as a high-profile streamer checked it out. So far, though, it's not been good. Here we've got 354 viewers. I found just a few hours ago there was 450 people watching the game, but one of those was like a single streamer with 200 viewers. So really, it is quite a harsh situation. I mean, I'm sure plenty of people are playing it. It's not like Twitch numbers are the only thing. It's just, it's one of the few numbers that we have, right? So in the absence of Steam charts data or something like that, we do just kind of end up using Twitch. So certainly in that realm, it's not exactly had the staying power. You do look at this and you just kind of wonder, was a 4v4 MOBA sort of thing with a battle pass the way that this should have went? I don't know. I mean, if you told me it was a Crash Bash remaster, I probably would have bought it and had fun. Had fun playing it in co-op on a couch, but not like this. I don't want to play this at all. Why? Yeah, anyway, to move on then, another month and another Square Enix mobile game has been cancelled. Their mobile strategy has been a very messy one, and I certainly think that Just Cause Mobile is just about the most perplexing idea for a mobile game that they could have had. This was revealed at the Game Awards back in 2020, scheduled for a 2021 release date. It's funny the amount of mobile games where they get announced and coming soon, and then 3 years of soft launches and small tests happen, and you're like, where's the goddamn game? What's going on? Of course, it was a mobile game that was undergoing some regional testing in order to test how well the microtransactions go, but ultimately, all those soft launch microtransactions have been refunded, and the game is gone. I think it's another sign of a strategy that really doesn't have much focus and support, and it does mean that even as they're doing fantastically with Final Fantasy of all of its different forms, it still is Square Enix, so there's a hell of a lot of chaos and wackiness injected into the mix. But to finish it on a good note for Square Enix, tickets are sold out to FF14 FanFest, but they did launch what their goodie bag promos, the goodie bag things are going to be, and yeah, we got Squishable and Walker grapes. So this is lovely. The low poly grapes that everyone was memeing on because, the grapes were fixed. Then we got high poly grapes. So much less character than the low poly grapes. And now the low poly grapes will live on in the form of a plushie. I think that's just adorable. So, good stuff then today. Right, do you want to get a little bit more smart, make that brain less crusty? Well, check out Brilliant. I think they're really awesome. It's been really fun. I watched, say, all of Sabina Hossenfelder's, videos. Like science news every week. I watch her videos. It's pretty cool then that, there's a way that I can actually engage with the sorts of things that she does with her brain, with, the introduction to the quantum physics stuff. It is really fascinating. So, Brilliant's awesome. Check them out. They literally do support the show a great deal. But with that said, I hope you found today's episode to be fun, and I'll catch you next time.